the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Pauly Howard, Mike Palm, Mitch out sick, hopefully back tomorrow. We'll get to Matt Humans later in the program. A.J. Ramos also to preview Game 5 of the World Series. It's our weekly visit with the Hall of Famer and the legend. Vito's son, Sal Paolantonio, joins us now on the Progressive guest line. Eagles on a bye. We'll touch on them coming up a little bit later, and we have a lot to go over coming up. First of all, my friend, good to talk to you. Gotta have it game tomorrow. They're all big, as Lamar Jackson says. They're like playoff games. What do you think of Baltimore hitting the road with Lamar back in Miami?
Tough game for them. You know, if they stay on the run game, right? That's where the money is right now. You know, your show is called Follow the Money. Well, right now in the NFL, the money is in the running backs. We're in the midst of a running back renaissance, revival, revolution, whatever you want to call it. Just look at what was the winning formula throughout the NFL last week. You look at the Ravens, they leaned on Derrick Henry heavily. Can you believe the Bears lost to Tyler Huntley? Can you believe that? And the reason why they lost to Tyler Huntley is because Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, said, you know what, we just got to lean on Derrick Henry. You look at the Bills last week, 35 rushes for 245 against the Carolina Panthers on the road. You look at the Patriots at home last week, 35 rushing attempts for 177 yards. You look at the Texans, how did they beat the Niners? 36 rushes for 157 yards. You go down the list in the NFL last week. How did the Dolphins shock Atlanta? How did the Dolphins shock the Falcons in Atlanta? 37 rushing attempts for 141 yards. And the Ravens, 35 rushing attempts for 177 yards against the Chicago Bears. You got to get those rushing attempts north of 30, close to 35. That's the winning formula, and that's the way the Ravens are going to go down and beat the Dolphins in this game on Thursday night.
Sal, speaking of great running backs, Indianapolis has one in Jonathan Taylor. In fact, I was looking at his MVP odds a little bit here. Find him at 50, 55 to 1 still. They will be taking on the Steelers on Sunday in Pittsburgh, and you're going to be there. How do you see this game? And with the Chiefs and the Bills playing later in the day, there's an opportunity that the Colts could have a 2-game lead on both of them. How dangerous are the Colts to be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl if they can get the 1 seed?
Super dangerous. I don't like Jonathan Taylor as the MVP because they just don't give it to running backs.
Yes.
I know the voters, I know them all, and they are prejudiced against giving it to running backs. It's been a long, long time, right? Adrian Peterson was the last one. A long time ago, galaxy far, far away. So I don't think he's going to get it, but the Colts are for real. And why? You know what was really funny this week? I opened the Wall Street Journal. I read 2 newspapers in the morning. First thing, New York Post, Wall Street Journal.
All right.
I read the Wall Street Journal on Monday, and there's a big column. Where did this offense come from of the Indianapolis Colts? It's not too tough to figure out, gentlemen. Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator of the Eagles that went to Super Bowl 57 when that offense nearly upset the Chiefs. If the Eagles had won that game, Jalen Hurts would have been the MVP, but they couldn't get a stop in the fourth quarter of that football game. Shane Steichen took the offense from Philadelphia, a run-based offense, and is running it in Indianapolis. That's where this offense came from. It's tailor-made to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This offense is tailor-made to beat the Chiefs because it almost did it. They only lost by 3 points in Super Bowl 57, and they demolished them in Super Bowl 59. Beware of the Colts. They are totally for real because of the way they run the ball. Their offensive line is bigger than any other offensive line in the AFC. The only offensive line that's bigger than theirs is the one in Philadelphia. They have a big offensive line that's athletic, that mows down guys. It's the same concepts he took from Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach in Philly, and he applied them to the Indianapolis Colts. This is basically the same offense that he ran in Philly.
Great answer. Great perspective. I'm with you on the Colts that they're for real as well. How about their opponent? The Ravens are favored to win the division, even though they only have 2 wins. Hayward, after the loss Sunday night, we don't have a lot of fight in us. What do you think of the Steelers moving forward now, and if they can get stops?
Right. That's something a reporter can never say, that a team never had fight in it. It's up to the players and the coaches to say that. But here's my analysis of where they are. Their defense looks old. Why? Because it is old. It's the oldest defense in the National Football League. So it's tough for them to sustain the kind of effort that they need in 4 quarters. You saw that in the last 2 weeks. They got beat by Flacco and Jordan Love, one of the oldest quarterback in the NFL and one of the youngest quarterbacks in the National Football League. And the other thing on the flip side, guys, if you look at their offense, they can't win on 3rd down and they can't win in the red zone. If the offense can't win on 3rd down and they can't win in the red zone, you're not going to win a lot of football games. I just like the Colts. I mean, it's tough to go to Acrisure Stadium. It's tough with the terrible towels. I get it. It's not going to be easy. Daniel Jones to go in there and beat Aaron Rodgers. Psychologically, it's a big hurdle, but schematically and personnel-wise, they're set up to win this game.
As the Cowboys and the 49ers were the storyline of the NFC in the early 90s, and you could even argue the 80s, certainly the Bills and the Chiefs have been the 2 dominant teams in the AFC in the last handful of years. They meet again in Buffalo at 1:25 Pacific, 4:25 Eastern. Kansas City, a 1.5-point road favorite. How do you see this game, Sal?
Mike, it's an unbelievable thing that they're a road favorite. But you look at the team right now, who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop the Chiefs from going back to the Super Bowl? There really is only one team other than the Colts that can stop them, and that's the Bills. That's the Bills. This is an absolute gotta-have-it game. I'm making this my gotta-have-it game of the week.
Okay.
Because you're Sean McDermott. You're home. You have to be able to beat the Chiefs at home. You got to be able to prove you can do this at home, because if you're going to get number 1 seed in the AFC, and the Chiefs are going to come in there in January, if you don't beat them at home now, nobody's going to believe you can beat them at home in January. This is where you got to make your stand right here. Draw the line in the sand. This is where you got to do it. Sean McDermott and that Bills defense, which has had problems all year long, they have to reconfigure things. Hey, beating Carolina is one thing, but beating the Chiefs is the other. But how did they beat Carolina? The same way the Colts are beating teams. I mentioned it before. 35 rushing attempts, 245 rushes against the Carolina defense that's not bad. You can run on the Chiefs. They got to lean on their running game in this game. They got to lean on Cook. He had 19 for 216 last week against Carolina. That number's got to go way, way up. He's got to get 25 carries in this football game.
My friend, you know this. Cousin Ralphie knows this. You lose this game, you still have to go to New England. You still have to play the Eagles. You still have to play Tampa. If the Bills lose this, they're probably not even going to win the division. You agree?
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. New England is totally for real. Absolutely. Now, last week, of course, they beat the Browns. I get it. They were home. But here's the thing about New England that sets them up against everybody. One, I already mentioned it, 35 rushing attempts. So Josh McDaniels has got the offense in a good complementary football mode. What do you do with a young quarterback? You don't let him throw the ball too much. Drake May only had 24 passing attempts in that game. That's the Ben Roethlisberger model. When Roethlisberger was a rookie in Pittsburgh, they never let him throw the ball more than 20, 25 times a game, and they rode the bus to the Super Bowl, if you remember. So that's what they got to do in New England. They understand it. You run the ball, play complementary football. You don't turn the ball over. Now, Drake May did have an interception in that game, and they did, of course, lose a fumble. Okay, so if you do that, if you're losing a fumble and an interception down the road when you play better teams, that's going to bite you in the rear end, and you're going to lose football games. They absolutely have to make sure that they do two things: run the ball and don't turn the ball over, and they'll be right there at the top of the American Conference, the AFC East, going down the stretch, fighting for Buffalo for the number one spot.
Sal, a little over a minute left. The Eagles on the bye this week. The NFL trade deadline is next Tuesday. Do you expect them to make any moves, maybe try to pick up a cornerback?
Yeah, they got to get a corner. There's no question about it. Darius, let me just mention this to you, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but Darius Slay was benched last week. They're not entirely happy with some of the stuff that's going on with Darius Slay. Could the Eagles bring him back to that left corner spot? They need depth. They need depth at corner. They need absolutely somebody who knows how to cover in one-on-one situations. Now, eventually, do they move Cooper DeJean out to the left corner spot and find themselves a slot corner at some point? Yes, but they absolutely need to go out and find a corner. But somebody has got to convince Cincinnati to trade Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals have never been involved in any of these kind of trades, but this is one where the Bengals have got to bite the bullet and realize, okay, where are we going right now? We know Hendrickson's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. Do you want another dance with the front office? I don't think so.
Unbelievable appearance as always. Enjoy the games. We'll talk to you next week. Appreciate you.
Always follow the money.
You got it, brother.
Thanks, Sal.
Sal Pal, Progressive Guest Line, Vito's son. Best and worst teams, ATS, NFL, college, and a little hockey. Top, bottom, up next.
Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now, imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight to your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Visit Gemini.com/card today. Check out the link in the description for more information on rates and fees. Again, if you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
As I mentioned earlier, as I was about to, it's sad what's happening with Mike here. I'm at the mercy of the hacker. What happened? Jeff Benson tweeted out as well. Don't respond to any Mike Palm tweets as he got hacked. But on the show, rather, most people agree with you that how are the Lions only 3 in Washington coming up? Now, McLaurin is already out. Daniel's expected back for this game Sunday night. But the Lions are better than Seattle. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. So
I think they're power rated higher than Seattle in most people's books.
I would say that too. Where are you seeing? Because it's interesting that Danny Dimes in some spots still has a better MVP number than Taylor. What do you think's worth it after what Sal Pal just said? That'd be a great clip for X, by the way, guys.
Can't do it. Sal just told me he knows them all. They hate the running backs. Yeah. They're biased to the quarterbacks.
Do you think 50's worth it? Or it's not worth it after what Sal Pal said?
No, you'd have to get 500. I mean, you say it's not going to happen.
We have 30 touchdowns, though. He's on pace for 30 touchdowns.
He's going to. I mean, he might rack up that many touchdowns. And they could be. And remember, it has to come for the 1 or the 2 seed.
Yeah.
That qualifies, too.
Fair. But that's doable, too.
And he doesn't have a quarterback that's going to take all the shine away from him because he's got a big name.
I see Danny 16-1 at DraftKings. Yeah. But that's Sal Pal with the money quote there. Here we go. Best and worst NFL teams. Let's start here with top bottom. Colts are 6-2 ATS. So are the Patriots. It's a funny sport sometimes in a long season. They lost to the Raiders at home week 1. Seattle 5-2. Detroit 5-2. Rams 5-2 ATS. Let's go to the worst. I'm if you want to go with the opening number, Tennessee's 1-7 ATS. But go the closing number 2-6. Again, what is that? I think that's a 3-22 run ATS. If you got there early, I mean, the game was up all year with the Broncos. Yeah. So then it goes to, why wouldn't you lay 7.5, right? And then it went off 8.5 and fell 8. New Orleans 2-6, Las Vegas 2-5, Baltimore 2-5, and a bunch of teams are 3-5. ATS. Not much there. There's something here. Best over teams. Baltimore, 6-1 to the over. Miami, 6-1 to the over. Minnesota, 6-1 to the over. Mr. Flores, got to call him out. Absolutely.
He's good against the rookies.
Dallas 6-2, although all 8 games have gone over first half. Cincinnati 6-2. Best under teams. The Falcons 5-1 to the under. 6-1 if you got a good number there. Las Vegas 5-2 to the under. Houston 4-2-1. Not much here so far in the NFL. But then there's college. The Buckeyes 6-0-1 ATS. Texas Tech 7-1 ATS. Memphis 7-1 ATS. Covering by 17.8 points per game. Ohio State 30.6. And how did they're still okay because of their schedule, but how did they lose to UAB? Laying 23.
Well, they control their own destiny because they play all the teams above them in the American. So they can still be in the playoff.
Yeah, beat South
I think
Florida.
they actually have that. ESPN rates them at like 40%, which is the highest percentage chance of a group of 5 team. It flipped.
I missed it.
South Florida was 40 and they were 14, and it totally flipped with them beating them.
I missed that.
They were catching 6 there on Saturday at home.
Yeah.
But, they lost. The quarterback got hurt in that game that they lost to UAB with the dead coach bounce after Dilfer got whacked.
Uh-huh.
It's a big angle, that dead coach bounce.
I should have grabbed the 16.
How about the next team here is amazing.
Sure.
You're going to read off here.
Old Miss?
Mississippi State.
Sorry, Mississippi
They're
State.
0-4 in the SEC,
71.
by the way.
7-1 ATS.
Blew a 17-point lead to
Oh,
Texas.
it was terrible.
The punt return with the 2 minutes to go.
God, terrible. San Diego State. How about this story? 6-1 ATS.
They're second in the Mountain West right now.
Covering by 20 points per game. They had that horrible loss to start the year, and now they've rattled off 6-0. They beat Northern Illinois 6-3 in a game.
I watched the whole game.
Hawaii, that's bad news.
Hit under.
Okay, Hawaii 6-1 ATS as well. Mr. Chang.
They're the official team of VEASAN.
All right.
Maddie and Tim, they love them.
And Boise 6-1. A plethora of other teams 6-2. Find them at VEASAN.com. The worst, Oklahoma State 1-7 ATS. Georgia State 1-7. Baylor 1-7. Sam Houston 1-6. Penn State 1-6. Great information coming up that Luke found about what this schedule slate was supposed to look like in August. Got the top 3 teams in the country in the first poll: Texas, Penn State, and Clemson. BU. UMass 2-6. Oregon State 2-6. Charlotte 2-6. Best over teams: Air Force 6-1 to the over. Somehow played an under against Wyoming. Navy 6-1 to the over. I like them over again. Bet them over coming up on Saturday. They can score. Horvath, good quarterback. Tennessee 6-2. Florida A&M 5-1. Georgia Southern 6-2. Temple 6-2 as well. Under teams: Oklahoma 7-1 to the under. Missouri State 6-1 to the under. North Carolina 5-1 to the under. Nevada, Northern Illinois, Wyoming 6-2 to the under. Auburn 6-2 to the under. And Arkansas State 6-2 to the under. NHL numbers. Thanks to our guys as always, Chris Otto, Ian Duncan. Let's go. Goal in the first 10 at home. Pittsburgh 5-0. Utah 4-0. VGK 4-0. Boston 6-1. On the road, Ottawa 5-0. Columbus 5-0. San Jose 5-0. Seattle 5-1. Overall, goal in the first 10. Boston 10-2. VGK 8-2. And again, based on the opening number, every Islander game has gone over for the game. Not much to report in terms of first period stuff, although you want to look at Vegas at home for that. But that's where you're at with some numbers here with college, the NFL, and the NHL. And great job to everyone who does that on a regular basis with the NHL. Have you added any NHL futures or your thoughts so far on the season?
I
asked Jonathan Davis yesterday if is he buying Utah, is he buying Montreal, a couple of first place teams. Edmonton put it on Utah last night, but go ahead.
I like Utah. A lot of speed. Team has a lot of speed, and those teams that have to play them the second game of the back-to-back in the mountain trip, when it's Colorado first and Utah second, look for those opportunities. I'm buying New Jersey.
Yes, you were on them, yeah.
I'm very high on New Jersey. I'm just telling you.
That was a crazy
all those
game
injuries, They had a good series with the Avalanche, the home and home. It was a very good game. What was it, Sunday in New Jersey? And then last night, Colorado put up the goals late. That season ended last year because of the injuries, and they weren't competitive against Carolina in the playoffs because they were so decimated by injuries. I think the Ducks have looked pretty good, too. Remember, I got Ducks yes to make the playoffs 3-1. They've been competitive.
Yeah.
Quinville wins going back there, South Florida. They win at Florida last night. So I like the Montreal team a lot. Will the goaltending hold up? That's the big question. I don't think the Knights are good enough to win it. I don't consider Dallas good enough to win it. I think it's a very finite amount of teams in the West.
Okay. Have you done anything with college football futures or anything from that standpoint?
No.
This thing's wide open.
You think so?
You don't?
Who's beating Ohio State?
You're there? Yeah.
The defense is too good.
All right. Who's second best team then?
I would say Indiana against everybody else, but I don't know if they can physically compete with Ohio State. I like the wide receivers. They went in there and really beat Oregon. That was a beatdown. And then this UCLA team has turned a whole new leaf. They went in there and acted like they were Deshaun Foster was calling the plays.
No kidding.
How about the fake punt on 4th and 9 from midfield? Terrible stuff. They were kicking field goals down 40. That was terrible. I think it's probably Indiana. I thought for a long time Miami was the second best team, but they were.
I think that was a fluke, though, don't you? I mean,
they weren't ready to play Louisville. He threw 4 picks.
Threw 4 picks.
Played the first half against Stanford. They stunk in the first half last week.
Yeah, they better take care of SMU.
I like Texas Tech. I think they got a really good defense.
I love them
but
too.
I don't know. Are they good enough offensively? There's throw Ohio State out, and the rest of it is very interesting.
I think they are. And they get the quarterback back. Yes. Now they lost Hammond, the backup for the season with the ACL.
Is BYU for real?
I think so, but they're not going to make the playoff because of the schedule. But everyone keeps picking against them, and they win.
That was an impossible spot for them last week.
It was.
They're off the Holy War, and the idiot Matt Campbell's off a bye, and they run him in the first half. The Iowa State looks great. They come back and beat him by 2 touchdowns.
I know. That's Campbell for you.
Campbell.
VSiN Pro subscribers have exclusive access to our all-new AI player prop projections powered by OptAI, the same trusted brand behind elite soccer analytics in the UK, data-driven pros and projections for quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs compared directly to the DraftKings lines to help you find value and to tip off the NBA season with a huge card again tonight. VSiN's offering a limited-time free preview of the new NBA player prop projections. That's awesome. I ran some of them down earlier. Check it out. They're down on Joker tonight and Ja. Check out versions of both today. VSiN.com/NFL props. VSiN.com/NBA props. Game 5, World Series tonight, 96 degrees. But you want to listen up next if you're thinking about betting over on Ohtani props. That's next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Here we go. It's on tonight. Game 5 World Series. Snell against you, Savage. Here at Circa, $1.90 on the game. Snell, $2 at DraftKings. World Series history tied at 2. Winner of Game 5 wins 67% of the time. Got to have it game last night for the Blue Jays. They delivered. And Bieber was awesome. And now, maybe you say the same thing about the Dodgers, although they have Yamamoto in their back pocket for Game 6. He's 5-1 with a 1.62 going back and a 40-8 strikeout to walk ratio. They see a Savage for the second time. That's huge. Trying to get this Dodger offense going finally. It's his first road playoff start. Michael going to detail on that coming up and what he expects. I'll start with Snell. In Game 1, Blue Jays made him work, and that was Toronto baseball. They fouled off 22 pitches, 11 with 2 strikes, most ever for Snell in a game. 29 pitches in the first inning. He'd been so good, the Dodger starters were so good. Then he had the hiccup, but he threw a lot of pitches. They got to him, and the key is get to this Dodger bullpen, which surprised everyone with what happened in Game 3, but they got to him and lit him up in Game 1. I expect a better performance from Snell. His Strikeout prop is 6.5. His outs recorded, 17.5. Hits allowed, 3.5, 4.5. Shop it. And the fascinating handicap is the strikeouts, because Toronto doesn't strike out. And to see if Snell, 7's a big number if he can go over that 7. And here at Circa, if he strikes out 9+, that's plus 325. If you want him to register, 8 strikeouts and the Dodgers win is plus 230. To record a win is plus 130. What do you expect out of your Savage? Or no, take it away for both.
Well, I have to go back to the fact that this is his first road playoff start.
Big.
They were able to throw him at home against the Yankees. They got him a ton of run support. They were able to throw him at home against Seattle. He did get bombed in the early game, and then he came back and was able to throw at home again when they won. And they gave him to throw him at home in game 1 against the Dodgers. I think this is a different animal. I think there's a lot more pressure on him. He doesn't have that crowd support when he gets 2 strikes on a guy. I just feel like the Dodgers, though, that the first 5 innings of tonight's game probably determined who's going to win the World Series. Because you don't want to have to go back to Toronto needing 2. And as good as Yamamoto has been, can you count on a 3rd straight gym? And then, to have to face Gaussman to begin with in a must-win situation. And then to have Glass now in Game 7. I think those are all things. So I think the Dodgers, if they can if your Savage gets through 5 innings here and gives up nothing 1 or 2, I think Toronto will be in great shape tonight.
Yeah, I think he'll go 5 innings.
Yeah, I think he will, but can he hold them down? Here's an interesting prop. Bets under half a hit, plus 160.
Yes. 5 for his last 34.
Now, if you play it under a base and a half, it's minus 1. I don't want to lay 160, and I don't want walks to be involved. You know what I mean? So I think plus 160. Now, he was 1 through 3 off Savage in the first game. He got a single in the 5th in Savage's last inning.
I bet Savage over outs and also over walks, 2.5. Adam Burke with a good write-up, VSiN.com. He's gone over that 3 games in a row. You're Schneider. How would you handle Ohtani at bats?
I'd pitch to him, and I'd make Savage keep throwing down with the breaking stuff down. It becomes different late in the game when one run wins it for the Dodgers, and you're not going to let Ohtani beat you. But I think you play him straight up as much as you can. Now, if you got 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs, or even 1 out, I'd walk him in. But I wouldn't be walking him to force runners to 1st and 2nd and things like that in the flow of a game.
Yeah. What's your assessment of the Dodgers' offense, not only in this series but the playoffs? Well, and who's hitting and who's not
very lackluster against the Brewers, but it's hidden by the fact the Brewers hit 119.
Amen. There you go.
2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1.
Right. They've had some horrible at-bats in this series. Horrible. And also some of the at-bats Muncy's had. And it's still, I'm not going to be like, get off my lawn or back in my day guy. But you don't have to swing every time it's 2-0 or 3-1. Take the frickin' walk. And then you're swinging out of your shoes and you ground out to second base or pop up. And a lot of times you swing at ball 4. It's ridiculous. These games are tight. It's the World Series. Take the walk.
Muncy was a sexy pick for MVP. Series MVP, remember?
Mm-hmm. But some of these at-bats have been terrible. So to your point, though, in the Milwaukee series, they won 2-1, 3-1, 5-1, but some of it was late, the damage off the bullpen when the game was decided. And then 5-1 was the Ohtani game. He's the only one who did anything in that game. You didn't do anything in game 1. That's 1-1 in the 7th inning of game 2. Ohtani's the only guy who pretty much showed up in game 3, and then you lost 6-2 last night. Much of your damage came against the Philly bullpen early on, and then the closeout game, you won 2-1.
On an error.
Right. So Pa has his 4 for his last 50, probably not going to be in the lineup. They go to call. But then again, before the pinch hit at bat, was horrible at bat. He hadn't played since October 13th. Mookie 5 for his last 34. I don't trust Muncy. Will Smith probably worn out after catching a doubleheader. Good point by you. I like Freeman, big money player. He can deliver. And I like Hernandez. So to my point, if they're going to pitch around Ohtani, this lineup doesn't scare me.
Doesn't scare me at all. And they're very have a tough time to score the big inning. It's very hard for them to score multiple runs in an inning. So I think it's interesting. I think Snell will be better. I think that was an aberration of 10 days rest.
Right, I agree.
When he was so hot. But can he find it again? can he find that rhythm he was in? Because, for his whole career, his stuff is incredible, right? And I think maybe his reputation got sullied because he was such a COVID denier, right? He was a whack job during that whole thing.
Right.
And he pitched in Tampa. But the guy's had incredible stuff his whole career. But the labor was, could he even get through 5 innings?
That's the thing. He throws a lot of pitches,
because he throws so many pitches. I remember him being at 100 pitches in the 4th inning of games.
Mm-hmm.
Can he keep that down tonight, and can he give you 7 innings? Who do you trust? Why do they keep bringing Trinan in?
Oh, my God.
Why does he keep
him.
going to Trinan?
He's terrible. Dodger fans are losing their minds. The guy stinks. He brings him in all the time.
All the time.
I don't get it either. I don't understand it.
It's like Trinan's their second best guy in the bullpen after Sasaki, the way that the Roberts manages these games.
Base hit, right off the bat. Why this guy? I know. So so there's a lot going on here about then how you juggling your bullpen and who you bringing in too if there's problems early. I mean, after what we witnessed in Game 3, there's this all hands on deck, whatever. But it's who do you trust and how many guys can come out there. And hopefully you get the gift that Yamamoto can go deep in Game 6. Here's what I was talking about. If you want to bet overs tonight with Ohtani props, I bet under 1.5 walks. Over 1.5 walks. After he pitches, he's 5-34. 5 for his last 34 with 14 strikeouts. That's going back. So the big question is, do they pitch to him? And what happens there with the at-bats off the bat? And what can he do if he gets on and can other guys get something going? You're right about picking up behind him. But if they walk him, I want to see him steal, and I want to see Mookie deliver finally, which shouldn't be a big ask. Mookie Betts has had a hell of a career. He shouldn't be 5 for 34. Remember, we were sitting here during the summer. It's like, this guy's hitting 210. Remember his batting average? It's like, how can Mookie Betts have these kind of numbers and go in this funk and slump?
He looked like, remember early in the year, Dansby Swansby for the Cubs? Dansby Swanson? Mm-hmm. He looked like he completely forgot how to hit. He looked like he lost his way. There's a little bit of that to Betts right now. Let me ask you another question about Ohtani. Remember he tried to steal the base in extra innings in Game 3?
Came off the base,
and he looked like he was a little bit hobbled there.
Yes.
I think he might still be a little bit hobbled there.
That's true.
He ran the bases very gingerly last night.
Yeah, and A-Rod made a good point on the postgame about I would have started him Game 5. I wouldn't have started him Game 4.
You could have started Snell tonight.
Because he's going through his with his IVs and what he was dealing with as well. And he certainly wasn't himself last night. I do credit the Blue Jays, but he came out there in the 7th and had nothing. And you saw how everything was up. The home run to Vlad, high, up. The base hit by Luke's, up. But they had some quality professional at-bats, and that's why it's just fascinating with his K-prop. And also this team doesn't strike out and how good they are with the contact. Ohtani did say, absolutely, I'm available out of the pen Game 6 or 7. If you need me. He said that after the game. So Dodgers now $1.90 to win the series. What about our guy Dave Ross? How's he feeling? You talk to him? He's got the Blue Jays for $70,000.
You just hope that they could get it back to Toronto. Well, now you got a shot to go back to Toronto with the lead.
Yeah.
So I'll be on with him and Jensen tomorrow morning at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, and we'll get right down to it. What tickets did he hold and how did he hedge? I know made a little misstep in Game 1 with trying to take the Dodgers plus a run and a half, but we'll see how it all worked out and see what kind of a payout Dave's guaranteed himself.
He did do that, huh?
Yes.
I thought he was going to maneuver in play, which was a blowout for the Jays, so he could have been set. I guess he didn't do that?
He waited. Jensen told him to wait. He said Snell's going to be off here because of the 10 days rest. Then he could have laid 110 with the Dodgers. They had a really clean edge.
Mm-hmm. Incredible. Dave got him in the blackjack tournament here with the 8th or 9th pick, whatever it was, for $70,000. Up next, these buyouts are out of control in college football. You cannot be serious with the Maestro next. Follow the money, VSiN, Sirius XM Channel 158, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Back at it. You like it every week. He's still doing it even though he's co-hosting today. It is time for You Cannot Be Serious. Hit it.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
All right, Paul, LSU AD Scott Woodward, remember that name?
Yeah.
Announced earlier this week the firing of head coach Brian Kelly. kill a kid, that's all right. Lose 3 straight SEC games, no. We can't tolerate that. Kelly's $54 million buyout brings the total of buyouts paid to coaches who've been fired since the start of the season to, get this, $167.7 million. Add to Kelly's $54 million, James Franklin at Penn State, $49 million. Sunbelt Billy Napier gets $21 million from Florida. And by the way, if Sunbelt Billy gets hired by another school, that doesn't vitiate the $21 million Florida owes him. With Franklin and Kelly, the payouts get reduced if they get another job. Mike Gundy, job for life at Oklahoma State, not so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man, I'm 40, got $15 million. Sam Pittman was dancing on the sidelines with our own Stormy Buonantony a couple New Year's days a few years ago out at Arkansas, $9.8 million. Brett Pry at Virginia Tech, $6 million. Deshaun Foster, gun in a ski max, UCLA, $5 million.
Come on.
Trent Bray, Oregon State, $4 million. Trent Dilfer, UAB, $2.4 million. And Jay Norvell at Colorado State gets some crumbs, $1.5 million. Now, Kelly's $54 million buyout is second most all time to Jimbo Fisher, who got $76 million after getting fired at Texas A&M in 2023. Who was the AD that hired Jimbo Fisher and wrote up that contract and buyout? None other than LSU AD Scott Woodward.
No.
Who was at Texas A&M. Woodward now definitely on the Mount Rushmore of AD buyout contracts between Kelly and Jimbo Fisher. $130 million. The governor of Louisiana might not be wrong. Scott Woodward.
You cannot be serious!
The richest to rags story of former NFL MVP Adrian Peterson continues to get more bizarre. On Sunday morning at around 9 a.m. in the Houston area, the Sugar Land Police Department approached Peterson's vehicle as it was parked and running next to a gas pump, with Peterson sleeping inside. Peterson told the police that he was coming from a poker game in Houston and was just trying to find his way home. He failed the field sobriety test, admitted he'd had 3 or 4 shots, and said on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being stone cold sober and 10 being pass out drunk, he was only a 2. As they searched his car, they also found a Glock pistol in his glove compartment. This is the second DWI arrest for Peterson in less than 6 months, as he was arrested in Minneapolis-St. Paul in April after he hosted an NFL draft party for Vikings fans. You may remember that in September, video was taken of a fist fight between Peterson and another poker player at perhaps the same social club for poker in Houston. Last September, a judge ordered all of Peterson's assets be turned over to a conservator to satisfy a $12.5 million judgment that a Pennsylvania bank had gotten against him. They had loaned him $5.2 million in 2016, and with all the interest and penalties, he owed them $12.5 million on that $5.2 million loan. They sold his NFL Rookie of the Year trophy. They were seizing his ranch. And, of course, we all know about hitting the sun with the switch and him being suspended for almost the entire 2014 season. This is truly one of the saddest stories in recent sports history. Adrian Peterson.
You cannot be serious!
Let's go to the Superdome on Sunday. Tampa leads 7-0 on a defensive touchdown, by the way, with under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Rashid Shaheed catches a pass for the Saints, takes 2 steps, makes a football move, and is stripped. Antoine Winfield Jr., Paul, who has been at Circa playing dice with his father, Antoine Winfield Sr., picks the ball up and strolls 44 yards to the end zone for a touchdown. Everybody follows him down the sideline. Defenders, offensive players, the side judge, the referee, the umpire. Wait, there's a huddle on the field. The referees, umpires, they all got together and decided that somebody blew a whistle during the play, and that although Winfield had already picked up the ball, he could not advance it because of the inadvertent whistle. Paul, I watched this play 10 times. I watched it from the All-22. Nobody stopped on the play. Now, Ron Torbert was the referee. Remember, Ron Torbert became the first black referee to do a Super Bowl, and said there was an inadvertent whistle from an official on the far side of the field who thought that after Winfield recovered it, he was down. Unfortunately, when there's an inadvertent whistle, we cannot allow him to advance, and so Tampa must take over at that spot. I can't know that if there was a whistle, anybody ever heard it because nobody reacted. Meanwhile, instead of having a touchdown, they got a penalty, a sack, and an interception, and instead of 14-0 at half, it was 7-3. Tampa at half. Ron Torbert.
You cannot be serious.
Excellent job. Very good. I'll give you a B-. Here's why. I did B+ last week. I wanted you to go off on this because you were watching the game. The story won't go away because the NFL keeps putting it into the news cycle. This Reichert thing about what happened in London with the field goal, where, no, it didn't hit a wire, it was an optical illusion. And then Reichert's agent said, take that off the miss. That's not a miss. Take it out of the box score. The ball hit a wire. And the agent said the NFL agreed, okay, we'll change it. And then now there's like, what was the conversation? What's the NFL saying? It's like they insist that the ball didn't hit the wire when we can see. Reichert's like, listen, I've been kicking a long time. I'm a pro. I know the ball doesn't do that after what happened and just made a right turn. My ball doesn't do that.
I thought it was obvious on the tape of the Sunday morning game that it hit the wire when you looked at it in slow motion.
Well, for them to call up when Al
Michaels
Michaels says it on air and they make him say something immediately after. So what are you doing?
They want to take my lunch money.
Yes, that's what he said.
Did not hit a wire. It was an optical illusion.
Yes.
That was in my thing, the Benny Hill.
Yeah.
It was the Benny Hill, the British TV wire, the Benny Hill bit. I'm facing a similar situation with my son. So in game 2 of their season, he forgot his jersey. He didn't bring his jersey. Now, his mother took him to the game. He's number 9 on this team. But he had another orange jersey. The team is orange, but it's 81. However, there's another 81 on this team. That's why he's 9. So he scored 2 goals in that game, but they credited it to the other kid because there were 2 81s.
Okay.
But they gave it to the other kid 81. Now, at the halfway point of the season, he would be leading the league in goals if you took those 2 goals away from the other kid and gave it to him. So his mother's insistent, you need to talk to the league and get those.
Oh, my God.
I said, that's embarrassing. How do you approach these people and say, my son demands, he's 9 years old. He demands the rightful credit for, why didn't he get the 2 goals? Well, he forgot his uniform. And he had to wear an old uniform that was orange. She's like, you have to speak to someone.
I agree with your wife.
What difference does it make? She says it'll affect his ranking if he goes to try out for travel hockey next year. They're going to look back at his statistics and he's going to have 2 less goals. I'm torn about it. I'm torn about the whole thing.
Yeah?
I think it's embarrassing to ask at 9 years old to change the goals.
What should
take
Mike
it
do?
away from his teammates.
What should Mike do?
Put it on Twitter.
FTM
Somebody
at
else will
VSiN.
tell me about it.
FTM at VSiN.com. Tweet at us. And then Mike won't respond because he's hacked. It'd have to be the hacker who has total control. I understand where your wife's coming from. Yeah, you want credit for that. I understand. I also understand where the 9-year-old demands.
The kid did that. He didn't say, Daddy, can you go see it? You get these goals. He had an unbelievable falling down backhanded goal last week. That was the game winner.
Yeah, got a future here? We talking free ride?
He'll
maybe
never be big enough. Come on, play hockey.
No, we'll get him in the weight room.
5'6".
Yeah,
the mother's 5'2".
No
shot. Come on. That's his dream, though.
Is it?
Yeah. People aren't laughing at your dreams. You're not dreaming big enough.
Yeah.
So we'll let him continue on until he gets knocked around at some level.
Okay. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
The part about the 9-year-old demands, hey, you got to change that. But certainly you want credit for your good work and what you've done.
He worked hard for those goals,
yeah.
She said.
It's just
he worked very hard for them.
That's not embarrassing if you got his jersey.
Take him away from the teammates.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, no, if I'm the kid, that's what you do. If I'm the kid, if I'm 81.
Maybe I go to the other father
do
and
that.
say, your kid's going to keep his mouth shut and take credit for these 2 goals. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
How about a 2-night stay at Circa? Come on in. I'll give you a 2-night stay. Incredible shower. Incredible shower here. I mean, you got to have
water pressure.
That's
Unreal.
right. It brings it. So we'll work things out. Yeah, the kid, 81, should go and say, hey, I'm not taking credit for that. Those were not my goals. It's Mr. Palm. Put your handicapping talents to the test in the First Bet Breeders' Cup Survivor. Pick against the spread in 2 pro football matchups. Nail a top 3 finisher in 8 select Breeders' Cup races. You'll be in the hunt for up to $10,000 in cash prizes. Entries due tomorrow. Head to VSiN.com/VSiN. Excuse me, first.com/VSiN. First.com/VSiN for the Breeders' Cup Survivor. Incredible contest. Go get them. Good luck to everyone. A plethora of picks next from Matt Youmans. College football, and a ton of futures in college hoops with our guide coming out. That's up next on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.